Let me ask you this: how do you deal after you come off the stage feeling electrified and shocked every night? How do you decompress, or do you decompress, or do you purge? Like, how do you do that?
It's my first performing was in front of like 10 people in some small clubs when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I like forgot most of the lyrics. So at that time, I just realized that, oh, I'm not a star type. I'm not a, like a, like these, like a front man and, could enjoy all this shit and just, it's like Kurt Cobain or Mick Jagger. I'm not that type of, I'm just a human just who loves writing music and just, the energy. So every night, like, for example, we had these stadium shows in Las Vegas last April.
Yeah.
It was 4, but like every night is a challenge. It's like same set list. It's like maybe the same flow, sort of little different, but just like you said, that moment, like after we finished the first 3 beginning songs, and then we, take out the earphones, and then we're just like, we're fucking back. It's like that's like everybody shouting out. At that moment, that's when I really gets all the nerves, and like there's a different me persona for the next 2.5 hours. But before that, from the rehearsal and even in the plane, I got really nervous and so responsible because I really am aware of the stories that fans buy the tickets and they come from Brazil, from Japan, Korea, like from everywhere. They just come there for just that one night. So it feels me like I have to pay back. I have to I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives. So it's a mess and it's a too much energy, but. I'm a human, and I really get nervous, and I really sometimes get depressed and even get swallowed by all the energies. But I'm trying, and I try to deal with it, because I'm a human, and I love the music. I love their love, because I think love is really happening when we give somebody, not we receive. We take.
Yeah.
So I think it's more closer to the real love, I guess, personally. So I just want to give them back. They brought us from just a small city in Korea all the way back to the heart of this music industry, Las Vegas, LA, New York. Me having an interview with Pharrell, it could happen because of fans all over the world. I'm just always grateful, and I just don't want to disappoint them. How do you position yourself? Like, you're a producer, you may be a rapper, you may be a singer, you may be a CEO, father, a husband. Like, of course, the name Pharrell explains everything, but except that, how will you define yourself?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a public servant first.
Public servant.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that word.
And when you serve the public, you're doing
something for public.
Yeah, and that's God's will. I'm a believer.
Oh, you're a believer.
Yeah, I believe. The universe is real. For me, God is the universe. We're in the universe. And then again, being a public servant, being a father, a husband, and then music is like everything for me, because music's the skeleton key that's opened up every door.
Still music.
It's like the center of everything, because without that, I wasn't able to do all the stuff that I'm able to do. And then I definitely have my struggles with having a lack of a sense of purpose, I think.
When?
Right around 2005, when I put out In My Mind.
In My Mind.
I just felt like,
After
man,
that? Right after that?
as soon as it didn't do what I wanted it to do, I mean, culturally, it made an impression, but it didn't do it egotistically. It didn't perform the way I wanted it to, chart-wise. Like, it just didn't do what I was used to at that time, and that really hit me hard. So that made me start to think about like purpose and things having real, true DNA and not just aesthetic perversion, but like real, true, like meaning, and something that could be meaningful to people, but at the same time still fun. And you know, I've always loved a girl, so that was always going to be a part of it. But so I understand what that is. I know what it's like to hit that place in your career, and for whatever reason, and you guys are doing fine. But I think, you know, from what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, you guys hit a place where you were like, you know, what are we doing? Who are we? Are we who we said we were?
Right.
You know, and you know, as you think about who you are and you think about what you mean and what your intentions are, it's like also kind of determining who you want to be. I mean, how's that feel? Like, where are you in that process right now? Because you're working on a solo record, right?
Yes, like 90% of the work is done.
Okay.
I've released some mixtape as a, you know, one of the member of the band, but I think it was just like experiments. I think this time it's maybe my official first solo album.
Okay.
That I could feel enough.
Okay.
I don't know it's gonna be like, I don't know if I would feel like you after My Mind or not, but I think, you know, it'll happen after when I release it.
Yeah.
So I'm just dependent on the time, but it's been just like 10 years after we had our debut as a team. So, you know, K-pop is, you know, all about the band and the groups. And actually, I told you, I personally started my career as a rapper, and as a poet.
Yeah.
So that was a tricky part actually, because, you know, the K-pop is like a mix.
Yeah.
It's like the mix of American pop music, all the visuals and the choreos and social medias and stuff. It's really intense and really hectic. So it has some pros and cons of its own. So, you know, after 10 years, I think it was not our intention, but we took it. But we actually became a sort of a social figure. So, you know, a K-pop band going to have a speech at the UN, or, you know, meeting the presidents. It's like I think I was really confused that I'm what am I, like a diplomat or what? So
Yeah.
I was just like a small rapper and lyricist when I was young, like from the scratch. So so it was 10 years really intense as a team, and I actually was in charge like almost all of the interviews and you know, representing the team like in front of the other members. That was my stuff, I guess, role.
Yeah.
So I think I got really I don't know, like, yo, I gotta stop this for a bit.
Yeah.
I gotta shut it down and just, you know, fall from it away, and then just see what's going on. You know, making my mind really calm down.
Yeah.
And then I think so that's how I got to concentrate on my just solo. And these days I really have been thinking about the 15 when I first listened to you. You know, the first feeling and the vibe and the reason why I started, why I chose music to, you know, for my whole life, I guess. So yeah, when I started my music, I was like 14, and now I'm like 28. So it's like just the half. It's like, you know, it's like way shorter than you. So I'm in that process. So it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if you could give me any advices, because you were in the band, and you are in the band, and you done the band. It's different from the K-pop, but you've done a lot of projects, like of course NERD, Neptunes, and, you know, of course your solo.
Yeah.
So, like any thoughts about?
You know, being in the Neptunes, being in NERD and having a solo record really helped me because it you know, you do one thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then
Switch
you take
modes.
a break. Yeah, and it allows me to like put on different hats and put on different masks. So I understand that, and I know like having that departure is gonna make it really fresh for you. I think it's good for you to do that because then when you come back to it, you know, to the group,
the team.
yeah, I think it's gonna be, to the team, I think it's gonna be super fresh. You're gonna have a whole lot of ideas. I would just say continue to move forward, continue to be curious, and don't put any kind of necessary pressure on what it is that you do by saying, you know, no absolutes, like, oh, I will never do music again, or I will never, I wouldn't do any of that. I would just,
No nevers.
no nevers, just stay along for the ride. Just keep going.
Cruising.
Yeah, and just see where you end up, because it's really interesting.
Thank you.
No, thank
It
you.
was a bless.
Pleasure's mine.